your word will come to pass. My heart will sing your praise again. Oh, sing it forever. Jesus, you're still enough. Keep me within your love. My heart will sing your praise again. Oh, we'll sing forever to you. Promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never failed me. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never failed me yet. We are expecting, God. We're asking you. Oh, we're expecting, God. Oh, we're asking you, Jesus. Would you do a move in us? Oh, I've seen you move. You move the mountains, and I believe I'll see you do it again. You made a way when there was no way, and I believe I'll see you do it again. I've seen you move. You move the mountains, and I believe I'll see you do it again. You made a way when there was no way, and I believe I'll see you do it again. I've seen you move. You move the mountains, and I believe I'll see you do it again. You made a way when there was no way, and I believe I'll see you do it again. Oh, you're always faithful, God. Oh, you're always move again, Jesus. Oh, we ask you to Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never failed me.
And we learned about a young man in February, this unfortunate example of a man being murdered because of the color of his skin. This murder is totally appalling. And racism in any form is detestable, and it deserves to be confronted. Now, our calling as a church is to unite people and to not divide people. So we cannot be passive anymore when it comes to injustice and just pretend like it doesn't exist. We must be intentional in the way we stand up for injustice around our city and our world. And I want our church to be intentional in how they stand up and unite people together, regardless of how different they look, how different they act, or how differently they speak. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps penetrate it or helps perpetrate it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it is really cooperating with it. At the end of the day, I want us to be a church that unites our city. At the end of the day, I want us to be a church that unites and not divides. But we can no longer be passive. We must be intentional. Boaz saw Ruth as a worthy woman. He was able to see beyond her circumstances. He was able to see beyond her country. He was even able to see beyond her past. And he says that she was a worthy woman. The exact same Hebrew word which is used to describe him in Ruth chapter 2, verse 1, that he was a worthy man, and Boaz sees Ruth as a worthy woman, strong and valiant, of great character, and he sees beyond the outward appearance of Ruth and sees Ruth for who she really is. He sees Ruth the same way that people see him. I'm worthy and you are worthy, and what you're asking is a worthy statement. See, Boaz could have taken advantage of this situation, but instead, he shows constraint and self-control. And this is where Boaz takes some very intentional steps towards his future of what he wanted. See, he could have just taken Ruth then, but instead he shows constraint. Verse 12, and now it is true that I am a redeemer, yet there is a redeemer nearer than I. Remain tonight, and in the morning, if he will redeem you, good, let him do it. But if he is not willing to redeem you, then as the Lord lives, I will redeem you. Lie down until the morning. See, Boaz instead takes this very honorable approach. He doesn't try to take advantage of the situation of this midnight proposal, but instead he speaks honestly and truthfully about a redeemer that's even nearer than himself. He could have, if he wanted Ruth, he could have snatched her then. If he wanted Ruth, he could have said, I will take you now. But it's not until next week that we're going to find out the honorable intentions that Boaz really has. But for this week, I want to leave you with this final thought. See, after seeing the intentionality of Naomi and Ruth and also Boaz, I want to challenge you to respond intentionally this week. See, Jesus challenges us in Matthew 7:7-8, to ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and it will be opened to you. And for everyone who asks receives, and for the one who seeks finds, and to one who knocks it will be opened. Jesus challenges us to ask, to seek, and to knock. There is not one thing that is passive about these three words. These are intentional actions that Jesus is challenging us to take. So I know that some of us feel like that we've lost hope. I know that some of us have lost the ability to see beyond this virus. I know that some of us have lost the ability to dream. Today I want to challenge you to open up your hearts and see that God has been faithful to you this entire time, that God has led you to where you are in this moment right now. I want to challenge you to dream. I want to challenge you to put your hope in Jesus Christ. I want to challenge you to ask, to seek, to knock, to be intentional about the way you live, be intentional about the way you seek after God, and be intentional about how we treat other people. God is challenging us. I believe that God is challenging us to be intentional about the way we live out our faith. Let us no longer be passive, but let us see the hope, the future that God has for us. May we no longer see situations as bleak Whether it's something as simple as a virus or as complicated as prejudice in our city and in our nation, may we go after it with intentionality and say, I will do all that I can, because even so, God is faithful. I have hope for a better future, because even so, God is faithful, that God is working in us now so that we can belong to Him.